Google just open sourced a file format called DESIGN.md. It's already at thousands of stars on GitHub, and it's about to change how every designer prompts AI. So today I'm going to show you how to use it in productions across 3 different apps. So this video will cover 6 different topics. We're going to talk about the inspiration, then we're going to build the design with Claude Design. We'll understand what the DESIGN.md is, and then we'll extract the specs, so pulling your DESIGN.md from your project. We'll then learn how to audit the system using Google CLI. And finally, we'll learn how to move your design out of Claude Design so you can move it into more of a production workflow. So let's get started with the first topic. So when we start building and designing, one of the most important steps is inspiration, like to decide what kind of style that you want your project to follow. And you can get inspiration from different sites. So the first one here is Dribbble. And, I'm sure most of you know this website. So it shows concepts of all different kinds of landing page. So there's a variety of styles here. So this is good for exploration. And the next one is Figma Community. So obviously, if you use Figma, then this is a plus because they're all Figma projects. So you can work in Figma directly, right? So this is all made by the community, and you will find very original designs. So the next one is the marketplace the framer template. So this is, I would say, like more premium designs. So not only for in terms of style, but also for like motions, like for animations, interactions. So if you value these, then this is super great. And all of their templates are really nice. The next one is Awwwards. So here we're on the nominees page. So the advantage of this is that they've been through a process, so they've been nominated. So we know that these templates, these designs are the best that you can find. And again, this is all premium, real websites in contrast of the other inspiration sites. And then finally, we have Neuform, which is the difference is this one is going to be component focused. So you start with a component, and then from that, then you can expand into a section and then eventually the full landing page. So you come to the community page here, and you can just browse and see what the kinds of components that the community have been building. So just look around and search for the kind of style that you like. So this is really nice. We have some, backgrounds here. And just like the other sites, this is also focused on animations and interactions as well. So we have different designs, different styles, and also the animations. And it's free. So you can just come and get your inspirations from all these beautiful components. And you can just come here and get the feel of all, the styles, the components that is in this page. And then you can use the HTML or the design.md as context. So the HTML will also have the design, right? But it will also have the structure and the whole section or the whole design. Or you can just use the design.md, which is like only the design system. And then you can use it anywhere. We can also come to the left here and look at the creators here. So you can look at their designs and see all their work. So we're going to use this for, to start our Claude Design project. So I'm going to choose one that I really like. So this is really beautiful. So I really like this design right here, and it's made by Surani. So I'm going to click on it, and then we can see here on the left side, we have the full design. And on the right side, we have the design system with the typography and all the spacing. You have the icons, the buttons, and everything's like this follows the structure of Google's design.md as well. So it's portable, so you can use this anywhere that the Design.md architecture is respected. So once we find a design that you really like, then all you have to do is to remix it with a prompt. So this, now we're going to ask it to turn this design into a hero section. And then we start the iteration process. So we click on iterate. So now here we can see the process working here. And I already did it before. So as I said, it's an iteration process. So this was the first one, and then the second one. And finally, I ended up with this one, which I really like because it looks more like a real hero section. So from here, you can just export it or, download your files. So you can download the design.md. So as I said, it's portable. Everything's portable. So you can download this and you can use it anywhere. But for us, we're going to use the HTML because we want the full section, because we want the full design, the structure, everything as context. We want to recreate this in Claude Design to see how Claude will handle it. So you download it, and we're going to bring it into Claude. Okay, so now we're going to test this one out. So we're going to create a prototype and create a new project. So we'll just name it new project. We're going to choose the high fidelity for this one and create. Okay, so now we're going to add a file here. So the HTML file that we got, this will be used as context. Let's look at the upload folder. We have the Arc of Fire HTML here. That's perfect. Okay, so let's ask it to create a landing page with the provided HTML file. So we'll see how it goes with just the simple prompt. Send it. Okay, so let's look at the plan. It says that it's going to copy the Arc of Fire hero into the project. Then it's going to create the design system. So the palette, the type, section, rhythm. That's really nice. So based on the HTML, the design that we provided, it's going to create its own design system and make it like consistent across the whole landing page. We have the sections displayed here: hero, capability, showcase. So we have a clear plan on what the landing page is going to look like. Then it's going to wire the scroll animation and interactions. It works on the sections first, the structure, and then it's going to work on the animations. So that's really great. And there's an additional step here, which is to verify. So from Opus 4.6, they have this workflow where it's going to verify its own work after it's delivered. So that's a really nice step to make sure that the output is optimal. So we can really see like all the steps that it's going through while it's building this landing page from our HTML file. And that's really great. We're going to give it some more time to finish and come up with the final result. So look at this, guys. It's absolutely stunning. This is beautiful. We have the same animation as the original one, and we have the same typography. Let's look at the original design that we had. So we see the original design here with the original animation, this flower animation, and the buttons here are black and there's no header. You can see the colors here and the typography. Now let's compare it to what Claude Design have built. So here, so as I said, there's a header here for the landing page and the background blur here, so the glass morphism. So it's really nice that it was able to keep all the animations and like all the design itself, the hero section, intact. And this is really important because when you work with something, you want to be sure that it's reliable. And every time you drop an HTML here, then you are sure that it's going to read it carefully and come up with a product that respects the design system. So we have the same big title here with the glow, which is really nice. Now let's explore the rest of the section because it's important to know if it did a good job. Like, was it able to respect the style, the color? So here, this section is the capabilities. We have like a 2x3 grid with icons, and you see that in the hover effect, we have a background that is following the color. So that's really great. And again, the next section, the showcase, we have this background that is also following the design systems. So this is perfect. And the next one here, again, we have this nice like dial component here. And it's important to know that Claude Design is for design. And it's not like, let's say you work with Claude Code, then you would have elements and like everything functional. Right here, it's not functional. So if you click here, you know, we can see the clicks here, but the rest is not functional. Nothing changes here. And that's how you have to treat this tool. Use it for design. And then if you want to make it functional or more production ready, or, you know, kind of iterate it more, then I will show you how to do that later. And that's really important. So stay tuned. So here we have this, and this is great, you know, this is really cool, really beautiful, and it's following the same colors, you know, the gradients. We have the orange, the red. I can already see this as a nice animation already. So this will be a great component for this section. And we can continue on, you know, this is 4 cards. Here this says it's 4 numbered step with inline code, okay? So these are the steps and the codes. And you see here, everything is detailed, like it explains all the sections that it just created. So the pricing page here is, you know, it's really original. Usually you have like 3 cards. Now we have this like split into two columns. You have the pricing plan here and the kind of the FAQ here. So this one works. But this on the left side doesn't do anything. And again, for the CTA, the final CTA, we have this color that is matching our style, our design, and this is perfect with the footer and the branding here. So again, for our first result, this is absolutely stunning. I like how it turned out for our first shot. Now, Claude Design is in beta. It's in preview. So this, every time you run like a prompt and you create a design, it's going to use a ton of token. And you're going to run out of usage really quick. So, and it's going to get better, I'm sure, but now they are probably, you know, limited to their resources, the GPU they have, you know, with all the people using it. So it's important to have this in mind and be thoughtful about your design process. So when you use a prompt, any prompt, it's going to use a lot of token. But what's good is that they have an edit mode here, and this acts like a real design app. So here you can select, you see that you can select any element on the design. So let's say we select this, or, you know, this one. So you can change the text directly here and it's going to reflect it. This is great. And you have the size, the color that you can change here, you know, a bit of red and this. So for small adjustment, then you use this instead of the prompts because it's going to run out really quick, I'm telling you. And, you know, a lot of people have tested it and they all say the same. And it has some, you know, typical properties here. You have the typography, the size, it's padding, margin. So let's select this. We can adjust the gap here, live, and the direction. Okay. The alignment, so we can send it, you know, at the end, which is this side. We can test it on some other elements. So let's try on this one for the padding. So we see the padding here changing live as well. Let's test with this margin. So it's pushing, you know, other components as we change the padding. So make sure to use this edit feature to the fullest, like a regular design program that you use. So you can check different elements to see all what kind of properties that you can change and get familiar with this. So Google just open sourced the Design.md protocol. So here on their GitHub, you can see there's already 8.5K stars. So you can think of this like a file that is used by your AI to define all the design system in your project. So you can think of the colors, typography, spacing, the components. So all of this will be defined in a way that it's going to be standardized so that everyone has a standard to follow. So everything the same. So because AI is non-deterministic, meaning that every time you run a prompt, it's not going to give the same result every time. So this will help everyone to have a standard way to build a design system and also to share with any AI that anyone is using. So if you scroll down, you can see like some explanation, and you don't have to be like deep into this, because if you really want to, let's say you want to build your design system following this structure, then you just have to use your AI and point it to this URL, and it's going to be smart enough to understand the full structure. So your design system is going to follow this exact spec that Google have open source. And this way, everyone's going to be on the same page. And they also ship a CLI tool with it. So you can use this tool to analyze your design system. You can use it like in a way that you don't have to open your HTML or use screenshots. It's only going to use tokens. So now that we understand what Design.md is, we can come back to Neuform and see it really in a real production use case. So we have this design here on the left, and on the right, we have the design system, which is the Design.md. So this is a visual representation of the actual Design.md architecture from Google. So we have the typography, the colors, the buttons, the icons, and the spacing, and so on and so forth. So this is really practical. And now let's download it so that we can use it in Claude Design. So this will show like a real workflow that you can use when you are designing and you need, for example, to import a Design.md into your Claude Code design. And you can do the same thing in any other tool. So back in Claude Design, here I created a new project, and I attached the Design.md file that we got earlier, and I asked it to create a landing page with the provided design file. So the Design.md file. And it started to read the file, and you can see here that it detected the dark mode, the orange accent here, the glassy surface. So all of this was in our Design.md file. So it rightfully analyzed and got it right and extracted all of this. So then it went into, creating and verifying all the sections, and we have it all here just like before. And when we take a look into this design, then you can already see that it's very close to the original one. So it's going to use the design system here, the colors, the typography, and everything. And then create another design which is similar to it, but using the same design. So the difference between before, when we uploaded the HTML, is that when you do so, we keep everything as is. So we ask it to create a landing page out of this hero section, and it did it perfectly. So when you use a design system, it's not to recreate the same exact component that you had. It's to create other designs that are based on this design system, and in a way would be a kind of a remix. So here in the hero section, it even created a background. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can assure you that it's there. Yeah, so it moves with the cursor, and then it created all the sections. Now we have this really nice pricing section with this card following the same color, the design system as usual. So if you compare it to the HTML workflow, right here, all the sections are well spaced, because in the other one, where we use the HTML, we have a lot of empty space here, empty spaces between each sections. So another one here and again here. So this is, again, both are, only the first shot, first try. So it seems like when you are using a design system, the outcome is much better, more consistent, because everything is defined. So this is how you would use the Design.md protocol in a real workflow. So now what if you want to extract the Design.md from any of your project or your design in Claude Design? So as of now, there's no feature to do it natively, but they have their design system, but the design system is more like when you import like a design system from Figma, and then you bring it, so it's going to bring like the whole big system, the whole design system. So you have the icon, the typography, the colors, the font, so everything, even the logo. So that's more like for the complete design system. But if you want to extract this from one of your project that you created here, then right now, it's in beta, so we don't have it yet, but we have some workaround. So let me show you. So you select any project that you want. In this case, we have this project that we built from the HTML file, this landing page. So what we're going to do is to go to the design files, and then you select the file, which is this one, the one that represents the full landing page. So all you have to do is click here and download the project. So once we have the project downloaded, then you can just essentially use it and bring it to Neuform. So what we're going to do is to come into here, and we have this code mode here, which gives access to the full code, right? So since we got direct access to the code, then we can modify it directly. So with the files that we just downloaded, open it with any, IDE or any text editor that you want. In this case, it's anti-gravity. So you just have to copy the code, and this is the full landing page. So you see here it's a big, it's a big file. We have everything here. So we're going to copy that and then bring it back here in the code mode. So once we have this, then we can just select everything, paste our code from Claude Design. So this is the whole code that we just pasted here. And then with this, we can preview the page here. So as you can see, this is the same page that we got from Claude Design. And now right here, it is fully displayed in this preview in Neuform. So instead of having just a single component, we just change, we brought the whole landing page here essentially. And by doing that, then the system will, analyze and get all the system, not system, but the design.md file here on the right, just like we had before. So we have this for our entire design. So then we can just download it as we have done before, and we get the full file, the full design system from our completely created design that we got from Claude Design. Now let's come back to the Google CLI. So I'm going to show you how to use this and how it's going to be helpful for you, useful for any of your project. So we have the installation command here. All you have to do is to copy it and then paste the command into the terminal. So it's going to install the package. And once that's done, we are going to be able to use all the commands that it has. So let's test this one. So this is a lint. So lint is a checker. So it's going to check your file and analyze it and flag any issues, any problems that it can find before runtime. So nowadays, everything uses lint, JavaScript, CSS, and so much more. So let's copy this command here. And we are going to paste it in our terminal. So we're going to use this package and analyze this design.md that I have in this folder. Let's bring it up, resize it. Okay, so here's what we got. It analyzed it and it's showing some warning. So for example, here we have so this warning here is for a button, the primary button. So it shows a color, this color on a background of this color. So, and it says that it has a contrast ratio of this much. So it is below the WCAG. So what that means is that the button fails the accessibility. So anyone with poor visibility or someone on their phone in a bright daylight is going to have a hard time to read this. So when you're designing, most of the time in terms of accessibility, then the colors, or you have to choose between where you want to stand, because the nice colors are too bright or really not accessible, and then you can be more in the side of accessibility and have more like toned down colors, more dull colors. So you have to wait out where you want to stand and draw a line in your design. So the rest of the warnings, like we can see here, it's saying that you have some colors that are defined, but it is never used in any components. So all of this. So this means that since it's a standalone HTML file, then we have no choice but to define our design system in that file because it's standalone. Let's say you have a production design, then you would have your style sheet in another CSS style. So over there, you're going to define all your design system, right? And then in your components, you're going to use whatever you need in that component. This is just a warning. It's nice that it warns us, but in programming, you don't want to import something that you're not going to use in the component. But in terms of styles and the standalone HTML, then because in the production, it would be defined in another file anyway. So here, since it's a standalone, that we can define it, and it's not like as much of a big deal. And then at the bottom, we can see like kind of a check, like a summary of your design system. You have 9 colors, 3 typography scales, 2 rounding levels, spacings, and 2 components. Because I use a small component for this test, it's this one. So there's not much, So obviously, if you use this as a full landing page or in production, then you would probably use most of the colors and the typography and all of that. But these warnings are like, they're just warnings, nothing to be like really worried about. But it's nice to know that it went through all of it and bring like real, we would say, bugs. Like, for example, this accessibility, it brings up the bugs before it's going to hit runtime. So, you don't have to take screenshots or run the app. So this is a pre-flight check, if you will. So at the bottom here, like, it also gives you good indication on how your design system, like the actual state of your design system in terms of the sanity check. If you have like 30 colors, 10 typography, and so much more, then, it might indicate that your design system is way too big and just too messy. And if you have like 2 colors and 2 typography, then this shows that your design system is way too thin. So this is like a real good indication of how your design system is right now, like a health check or a reality check. And then you can go and, really play with all the commands that they have. You can choose to use some diff, as if you use GitHub, then, you can check all the differences, between the versions. You can export into many different framework like Tailwind, into design tokens. So from here, you can really just explore and really find which command are useful for you. And as you test it, I'm sure that you will find some that you will really use regularly. So once you're satisfied like with your design, because Claude Design is all about design, uh, and we know that with the usage that they give us, we don't have much, and we wouldn't have enough to bring it iterated into a design that we truly want. So if you hit your usage limit, then there's a great way to continue working on it within the Anthropic ecosystem. So you just have to come here and click on handoff to Claude Code. So this will give it to Claude Code so that we can continue working on it, even if we hit the Claude Design limits. So depending on the plan that you have with Claude Code, then that will determine how many iterations that you can work on your design. So when you click on this, it's going to give you a command. So this command will tell Claude how to handle the design. So you just have to copy this, and you either want to use it with Claude Code in Terminal, depending on which one, which platform you like, Terminal or the desktop app, or you also have the possibility to send it to Claude Code Web, and as well as downloading it as a zip if you want instead. So if you want more to give the agent more details, then you can write it here. So on what to implement, like it's optional. So you want to, let's say you just want to implement the hero section or something like that, special instructions, then you can write it here. So let's send it to Claude Web. So now we see we're in a design new project, and it's exporting. Well, the command that we had before was pasted here, and it ran it automatically. So now it's starting to work on it. And the difference between Claude Web and Claude Desktop or Terminal, for example, is it's going to be which resource is going to be used to build your project. So on desktop or terminal, it's going to use your Mac or your computer. It's going to use your own resource. While in Claude Web, it's going to use Anthropic's server. So you can offload your resources, demand on their own server. So I find that Claude Code Web is not reliable right now, and also that Claude Design is in beta and is in a preview. So we are going to use Claude Desktop for this. So here within the Claude Desktop app, we copied and pasted the command that we had from Claude Design. So this essentially tells it to fetch the design from their server. And then it started to work right away on it, and it created the design pretty accurately. So on the right here, we have the design here, the live preview. So you can see that it's really great. It's like the design that we had in Claude Design. So on the left, we have the iteration, which is where you can prompt, and on the right, the live server. So this makes the iteration process so much easier. And also on the right, we have some really useful tool like this one, which you can select any component so that it has context of it when you prompt it. So if you've worked with AI before, then this will be so much easier. Also, it's going to use your Claude Code usage, because we know that Claude Design, the usage is just really bad. You can barely do anything. So depending on your Anthropic plan, then you can use pretty much all your plan on this instead of being blocked with Claude Design. So that's the full Design.md workflow. I'm putting together a deep dive course covering the full production workflow. So we're talking about Claude Code, Claude Design, and more tools. The link will be in the description once available. So make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.